And what is going on, everyone? You're tuned into another episode of Big Game Hunter, your one-stop shop for everything OKPreps. So, been away for a few days, but kind of figured I'd go into one thing I've been wanting to go to in a while, and that is my outline for the girls' side of Class 6A. And I'm telling you, I think Class 6A is going to be literally loaded next year. Now, if you've been keeping up with OKPreps over the summer, so you've noticed about 2 of the top 2025 freshmen in the state now at Edmond Memorial. One of those being Janiah Williams, who had a breakout season at Stillwater as a freshman, and the other being Honesty Hawkins from Putnam City North, who, I've actually watched both these players. I'm telling you, both of them have a lot of potential. I believe I've seen Honesty Hawkins play whenever I covered Putnam North in the Mustang Holiday Classic. And then on a previous episode, whenever I said I went and watched Stillwater and Edmond North play at Carl Albert in the state tournament, that is how I seen Janiah Williams play. But so let's get into the favorites real quick. Right now, I'm thinking the favorites are going to be Edmond North, defending state champion. They lost 3, but they return everything else, including Lacey Steele. And then Bixby, you got all 5 starters returning. I believe they were all juniors. But I'm not going to rule out anybody else when it comes to the hunt for the gold ball, because, and you guys have seen this the last few years, Class 6A girls has been a gauntlet the last couple of years. And like I said, 2020, 2021 was the first season I really started to cover big school. Of course, I've said that in past episodes, but anyway, and then you got to think about this. A lot of the teams that's probably going to be in the top 10 are likely going to be out of the Central Oklahoma Athletic Conference, which by far that conference is one of the deepest and one of the toughest conferences in the state. Because, obviously a Central Oklahoma Athletic Conference team won it this year in Edmond North, and then won it last year in Norman. I cannot remember who won it in 2019. Oh, yeah, it was another Central Oklahoma Athletic team, because Norman won it that year too. But how I say that conference is a tough one, because, you look at Edmond North. They bring everything. Okay, well, they lost Tony Paparonis, Ryan Franklin, and Atea Casals, but they still bring back Allison Heathcock, Kate Melton, Lacey Steele, and Elle Paparonis. And they bring back a couple bench pieces as well. And then Edmond Memorial, you look at, not only do they bring back their whole junior class, they have not 1, not 2, but 3 of the top 2025 players on the roster. Obviously, 2 of those being Janiah Williams and Honesty Hawkins, and the other one being Avery Helmstead, who had a pretty good year as a freshman. Let's see. Then you got Mustang, who's always pretty competitive. Now, I know Mustang lost quite a bit, but they had some sophomores that could go, and I honestly think some of the players from the freshman team are going to be some big pieces for the next few years. I believe the freshman team went undefeated, if I remember right. And then you got Norman, who, I know they lose Michaela Parks and Jackie Rollins, but they bring back quite a bit as well. I know they bring like Keely Parks back. I know she sat out over half her freshman year, but the game she played, she put up good numbers. Then you got Celie Harmon and Aaliyah Henderson, as well as Jordan Rollins and Nessa Begay coming back. Those are all solid players who put up good numbers. And then, yeah, that's like, you look at all the talent on the girls' side, and I'm going to tell you right now, I honestly would not be shocked if one of these other conference teams makes some noise in the playoffs because, like I said before, this conference is deep. And then, like, a couple of the other teams in the conference, like Deer Creek was pretty young, but I like what that coaching staff is doing. Edmond Santa Fe's been kind of an odd one to gauge the last couple seasons, but they look like they're a team on the rise. Moore is always pretty competitive. Southmore, speaking of which, that's another team I expect to make a big jump this upcoming season because Southmore, okay, I know they lost a couple seniors, but they bring back a young core, and I believe both the Van sisters were only freshmen, I think. Wait, yeah, I believe the Van sisters was freshmen. And these are the younger sisters of former Deer Creek Edmond players Skylar Van. I can't remember the two younger sisters' names, though, but they're pretty good. I watched Southmore a little bit. Then I know Westmore was fairly young overall. Moore High, I know they were pretty young, and their coaching staff usually always has them ready to contend. I think I'd honestly say UConn was probably one of the only ones. Actually, yeah, UConn and Westmore were the two I really didn't get to see much on. But, like, I know, like, Westmore was fairly young. Plus, they just got a new coach this year, I believe. Norman North, I really haven't seen much on them either, so I can't really speak on them, but yeah, like, and then you look at you look at the Frontier Valley Conference back on the East. I know Bixby pretty much dominated it this year, but I honestly think that conference is still going to be pretty competitive next year because, like, Sapulpa, they bring most of their core back, including the Hurd sisters. I know they're 5A, but I'm bringing up the whole conference in general. Then Broken Arrow was pretty young. I know the assistant coach as a daughter, she put up solid numbers as a freshman. And then Bixby, like I said before, they bring all 5 starters back. Okay, Union is going to be an interesting one because I think Union lost one of their studs, but they're usually always a team in the mix. But yeah, I know those have been the top cats of the conference. The other teams like Owasso, Jinx, Muskogee, Bartlesville really have not seen much on them. Kind of surprised I hadn't seen much on Muskogee High in general because, well, that's in my neck of the woods. So, but yeah, and then you look at the Big Ten Conference, which is back around the city. Well, you got Putnam West, Putnam North. PCO was a pretty young team. Like, I believe I covered PCO at the Bixby tournament last year. I know they lost one player for sure because I've seen her at Allstate, but they had some freshmen that could go. Putnam North's going to be the interesting one to see because, well, Like I said, Honesty Hawkins is now at Edmond Memorial, and I believe they graduated a couple other seniors. Because I know their two best post players in Paris Hardwick and Kerrigan Powell are seniors. Although that other guard that Putnam North had, I can't remember what grade she was in, but you leave her open, she's draining the three all day. And I believe that was Nini Garetta. That girl could shoot it. Because game I covered at Mustang, it was between Putnam North and Jones. It was the third place game. Nini Garetta could not miss. And it was a tight game all the way through. Because I remember you had... Well, actually, going off topic here for a minute, but that matchup was quite literally a battle of the guards because pretty much you had Garetta for North and then Boston Berry for Jones. So talk about a really good guard matchup right there. Putnam West. I really hadn't seen too much on that. I've seen a little bit, but I think they'll be back to contending next year. Their best player in Jaslyn Brown was only a freshman. And I'm sure you guys probably seen this all over Twitter, but there was the video of Jaslyn Brown almost dunking. She's legit, and she's going to be a threat for opposing teams for years to come. I don't know if they're going to be 5A or go back to 6A because last I checked, they was really close to the cutoff. But Midwest City, that could be a team that could make some noise. But I only bring them up because I think they were really close to the 6A, 5A cutoff line. And Midwest City girls the last couple of years have been a team that pretty much, if you sleep on them, then they're going to make some noise. And Midwest City's been a team that's had some tradition over the years. But yeah, that conference overall, it's going to be interesting to see how it unfolds because, like I said, about the three powerhouse conferences you have in 6A are probably the Central Oklahoma Athletic Conference, the Big Ten Conference, and then Frontier Valley. Well, I guess technically the Suburban Athletic Conference, I guess there are technically a couple 6A schools that have been in there, but that conference is mainly 5A schools. So I was kind of referring to 6A, but yeah, like as far as my dark horses for 6A so far, I got Edmond Memorial, Norman, Broken Arrow, and Putnam City West. But there are other teams I would not sleep on, Choctaw being one of them. Choctaw is one of those teams that you can't really underestimate, and that coaching staff has been to the championship a few times. Then I really don't know what Sand Springs brings back. I know they lost that really good point guard, and that girl could go. Can't remember her name. I got to find my All-State program, but I don't know where it's at. Probably at my other desk or something, but yeah, like as far as players to watch, like for Edmond North, I mean, obviously, Lacey Steele and El Paparonis are two of them. But now, Allison Heathcock and Kate Melton, those are like I said in my Edmond North breakdown, Allison Heathcock's one of those bigs that is deadly from three-point range or the mid-range. Trust me, I've seen it before. Like I said, I covered Edmond North several times this year. And then Kate Melton, I know she came off the bench, but she was one of those guards that could space the floor. I could actually possibly see her starting this year. Boy, that'd be a backcourt I'd pay to see. Kate Melton and El Paparonis in the backcourt. And then, like, Lacey Steele. Like I said, you can pretty much play her at every position because she's got the height, length, defense, and shooting. She could play every position. And then for Edmond Memorial, well, obviously, I just named off Janiah Williams, Honesty Hawkins, and Avery Helmstead. Like, that backcourt for Memorial next year, honestly, though, I think you could possibly find a way to start all of them, but and then the two other players to watch would be Baylor Franz and Kaylin Berry. But now here's what I could suggest doing. Kaylin Berry's a little bit of a taller shooting guard. What you could do if you, and it could, I guarantee you this could be the lineup I could see. I'd say you could possibly move Berry to small forward or even power forward, and then put Janiah Williams and Honesty Hawkins in the backcourt. Wait. Okay, wait. Hold it. Hold that thought. No, wait. Okay, yeah. Because, like, maybe you could go Baylor Franz and Honesty Hawkins at the 1 and 2, Janiah Williams at the 3. I've seen her play the 3 a little bit. Of course, she's one of those guards that's got the speed to do it. And then in the front court, you could clearly have Avery Helmstead and Kaylin Berry, although I can't remember if that other post girl was a junior or a senior. Because when I covered Memorial up at Bixby, they had another post player that played pretty physical, and and I know when both her and Helmstead was on the floor, pretty much you wasn't scoring on them in the post. If both of them was on the floor, you wasn't scoring on them. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what Memorial does with that lineup. I'm looking forward to seeing it. If they're still at Bixby next season, I should have a look on at them. Of course, I actually tweeted this out a couple days ago. I might actually try to go cover the Bixby tournament on Thursday and Friday, but, well, it's going to probably depend what goes on at the Purim tournament, because you do remember I do cover the Armstrong Bank Purim Invitational that week too. But if I can get away like I did last year, I could make something work. And then, obviously, I named Jaslyn Brown for Putnam City West. Like I said, she was only a freshman this last year, so I pretty much just named off 4. Actually, I probably named off 5 players in the 2025 class that was really good. That actually leads me towards my next segue, which, as far as Norman goes, obviously Keeley Parks will be one to watch. So, yeah, that's why I said I pretty much just named 5 of the top 2025 players. And then Salih Harmon and Aaliyah Henderson, when those two are on the floor for Norman, pretty much those are 2 you want to get it to for 3. And then Jordan Rollins, I know she's kind of a post player, but she can shoot it a little bit in the mid-range. Because I remember, well, when the Rollins was at Mustang, I seen them play frequently. And then for Mustang, which I really haven't seen what they've brought back yet, but two players I know of to watch for sure would be Riley Trammell and Parker Simonson. Like, I know Riley Trammell came off the bench. Wait, did she come off the bench? I don't remember if she came off the bench or started, but she was a sophomore this last year. I say she averaged about 10 or 12 in the post, and I honestly could see her having a breakout year this next year. And then Parker Simonson was one of those players that was like she reminds me a lot of Kate Melton from Edmond North in a way. She can space the floor really well. Really good from three, but deadly in the mid-range. And trust me, I have seen a lot of good pace and space guards, and she is definitely one of them. Whew. But yeah, Class 6A is going to be loaded next year. But this is really all I've got on 6A now. I'm sure by the time most of the teams wrap up their team camps, I'll probably revisit this episode and go into it a little bit more. But yeah, like, I really hadn't had a chance to go watch any team camps because I don't know if you guys have seen the last week or two, I've been busy with all-state games. In fact, like I said, I'm actually getting ready to possibly go back to the city to go to Edmond this Saturday for fast pitch all-state, and then I got slow pitch all-state up at Edmond next Saturday as well. It's been a busy one. But I think it's going to about wrap it up for this episode. I know my outline wasn't much, but I'm just going off what I know right now and who I know is returning. But hopefully I can revisit this later on after I've seen a little bit more. And hopefully in due time I can start having like guests on the show. But that's going to about do it for this episode. And if you want to support the podcast, I'll leave the links in the description on the YouTube channel to if you want to support the podcast, help keep it going. And I will catch you guys in the next episode. You've been tuned in to another episode of Big Game Hunter, your one-stop shop for OKPreps everything. I will catch you guys in the next episode.